Well, hello, welcome back. Welcome to episode 3 of the Unstoppable Entertainment Show. I am Nate Schaffner, otherwise known, of course, as the Unstoppable Nate. Welcome to another episode. I'm having a lot of fun doing this show, and hopefully you like what I have to say and like this show as well. I have a lot of topics that I want to talk about this week. But before I do, I just want to remind everybody that if you have a question for me, or if you'd like me to talk about certain movies or franchises, you can email me anytime at the address listed in the description of this video. Or you can leave a comment for me in the comments section. Also, if you like what you see and if you like what you hear, you can hit that like and subscribe button and tell your friends and spread the word. I'd love to grow a community with this channel. So with all that out of the way, like I said, there are a bunch of topics that I'd like to talk about this week. The first of those is this. So last week I talked about casting updates for Scream 7. And it looks like this past week there have been even more casting announcements. There's a report on CBR published by Jody Brown. And this report reveals that Jasmine Savoy Brown, who plays Mindy Meeks Martin she has played Mindy Meeks Martin in the past 2 Scream movies. She will be returning for Scream 7. She is part of the core 4 of the past 2 movies, and she is also the twin brother of Chad Meeks Martin, his character. I think this is wonderful news. It's kind of bittersweet because she and Mason Gooding, who plays her brother Chad, they are the only 2 members of the core 4 returning for Scream 7. Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are not going to be in the movie, which is kind of sad, but it's understandable. I think this is still good news. Nev Campbell is coming back as Sidney Prescott, so you have that kind of generational bridge between the 2 franchises, and maybe we'll see Sidney advise this younger group and help them out, and and we'll get to see the 2 generations survive together and come together. I think this is wonderful news. I can't wait for this movie. Jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this. The next bit of news that I want to talk about is this. So part of this upcoming DCU franchise reinvention is that there's going to be a Supergirl movie called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And Millie Alcock, who was on House of the Dragon, is going to play Supergirl. And according to this report on CBR, Supergirl's parents have now been cast. Now, for those who don't know, Supergirl's parents go by the names of Zor-El and Allura Inzi. Now, Zor-El is the younger brother of Jor-El, who is Superman's father. So Zor-El is his younger brother. And David Krumholtz, who most people would know from back in the day when he played Bernard in the Santa Claus movies, he will be playing Zor-El. and Emily Beecham, who I'm not familiar with, but she was in Into the Badlands. She will be playing Allura, and I think this sounds really cool. You know, I think having Supergirl's parents in this movie possibly suggests that we could see some sequences on Krypton, which is sounds really awesome to me. I always love seeing Krypton on screen. You know, that world and those characters. I love that. And you know, maybe maybe we'll see you know, scenes much like in with Superman, some final scenes before Supergirl is sent to Earth. I don't know. Either way, I think this is great casting. I think that um, you know, this again, we get to see a, we get to see all these characters come together, which for people like myself, for comic book geeks, this is wonderful. I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait to see David Krumholtz and Emily Beecham together with Millie Alcock. I think this sounds great. What do you guys think? Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. This next report that I want to talk about comes from Screen Rant, and it was published by Alexis Zakaria. And this report has to do with Moana 2. So, for those who don't know, this there have been maybe 54, 55 movies in history that have made $1 billion, $1 billion at the box office. I think a couple of movies have actually made $2 billion, which is crazy. And it looks like Moana 2, in fact, it's evident from this report that Moana 2 has indeed crossed the $1 billion mark at the box office. This report comes from Screen Rant. Moana 2 has officially crossed the $1 billion mark at the global box office, now solidifying its status as one of 2024's highest grossing film. The sequel was developed as Originally, the sequel was developed as a streaming exclusive series for Disney Plus. However, it was later shifted to be a film set for theatrical release. This is wonderful news for Disney. I don't think it would have been nearly as successful, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it would be nearly as successful had it been a series. I think it was the right move to kind of morph Moana 2 from a series into a theatrically released movie. I love the first Moana. My wife Katie and I are going to go see Moana 2 later tonight. I'm looking forward to it. You know, success like this is pretty rare. I mean, making $1 billion at the box office, which is kind of crazy, you know. So congratulations to everybody involved with this movie. I'm happy for its success. Jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think. This next report that I want to talk about is this. There is a report on CBR about director Robert Eggers' next movie. Now, for those who don't know, Robert Eggers, excuse me, directed a movie in 2015 called The Witch. And he also directed, most recently, The Lighthouse, The Northman, and a movie that came out last year, which I thought was great, was the remake of Nosferatu. I am a huge fan of the original silent film Nosferatu. So all I was looking for in this remake was something that was faithful to that story. And that's exactly what I got. Robert Eggers knocked it out of the park with his remake of Nosferatu. I loved it. His next movie will be, according to this report on CBR, it will be a 13th century werewolf movie titled Werewolf, spelled WERWULF. It looks. It also, according to this report, he co-wrote Werewolf with Sion, from who worked on The Northman. Werewolf has been dated for a release on Christmas Day of next year, so 2026. Look, I think this is. I'm very excited for this. I'm going to admit something. The only Robert Eggers movie that I have seen is Nosferatu. So I'm just going off of that. I think Robert Eggers is a great director. And you have him doing a werewolf movie, which is going to require some special effects, which, coming off of Nosferatu, what I saw of Nosferatu, I loved. I love the look of the film. I love the sets, the costumes, everything. You know, and him doing a period piece, like a 13th century werewolf movie. He obviously knows how to capture period pieces well with the production design. So I'm really looking forward to this. I cannot wait for, I love this kind of stuff. Monster movies, things like that. I'm a huge horror fan as well. Robert Eggers is a great director. I'm looking forward to this very much. I'm ecstatic about this. What do you guys think? Jump in the comment section and let me know what you think about this. The next report that I want to talk about is this. Director Guy Ritchie, who is known for, he recently did the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. He's done the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch. He's done some really interesting movies and good movies. He has an upcoming film called Wife and Dog, and there is a report on CBR that says that Cosmo Jarvis, who starred in Shogun, he has joined the cast of Wife and Dog. Guy Ritchie's Wife and Dog also casts, also stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Rosamund Pike, and Anthony Hopkins. This is a stellar cast. Cosmo Jarvis is obviously coming off a big success with Shogun. And I like Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie is a good director. He's done his films always feel very auteurist to me. He has it's clear from watching his films that he has a vision and he sticks to it. Even though the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare failed at the box office, it was critically acclaimed, which I still haven't seen. He also has an upcoming film called In the Gray. Now, this report on CBR describes Wife and Dog as a return to the colorful backstabbing world of the British aristocracy Ritchie explored in the Gentleman film and TV series. That's right, he also directed that movie, The Gentleman, which I've also not seen. Look, I think this sounds great. You've got a stellar cast here. Just from the trailers for the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, that kind of world, him going back to that kind of world in this movie called Wife and Dog, that intrigues me quite a bit. I'm really looking forward to this. Excuse me. You have Cosmo Jarvis coming off of Shogun. This sounds great. Guy Ritchie obviously knows how to cast very well. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this. What do you guys think? Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. This next report comes from CBR, published by Lee Freytag, and this report has to do with an upcoming film from Sam Raimi. And this report says that the Maze Runner lead, Dylan O'Brien, is set to star opposite Rachel McAdams in a new horror thriller from filmmaker Sam Raimi titled Send Help. According to Deadline, Send Help is a survival horror thriller about two colleagues who become stranded on a deserted island, the only survivors of a plane crash. On the island, they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive, but ultimately it's a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. Come on. This sounds awesome. I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan. Obviously with the Evil Dead movies. And he did this movie a number of years ago called Drag Me to Hell, which was great. And of course, the Spider-Man movies that he directed, specifically the first two. The sequence in Spider-Man 2 in the hospital when Dr. Octopus's legs are attacking the surgeons is classic Sam Raimi. I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan. This sounds great. I like Rachel McAdams quite a bit. I think she's a good actress. I'm not too familiar with Dylan O'Brien. I haven't seen the Maze Runner movies, but this description of this movie sounds awesome. It's going to be great to see Sam Raimi back in the genre. It says a theatrical release is being eyed for the movie by 20th Century Studios. You know, this sounds great. I'm such a huge fan of Sam Raimi and this genre. What do you guys think? Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. This next report is about the upcoming Christopher Nolan movie, which is an adaptation of The Odyssey. This report comes from Deadline, published by Justin Kroll. And this report says that Christopher Nolan's adaptation of The Odyssey is adding to its already stellar cast that Emmy winner John Bernthal is boarding the film. He joins a cast that includes Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, and Charlize Theron. The article goes on to say, Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is a mythic action epic shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. The film brings Homer's foundational saga to IMAX film screens for the first time and opens in theaters everywhere on July 17th, 2026. It is unknown who Bernthal will be playing. So there's that. Look, I am I am the biggest Christopher Nolan fan in the world. He is one of the best film directors, of the past 20 years. In my mind, he can do no wrong. There was a movie that he did back in 2002 called Insomnia. It stars Al Pacino and Robin Williams. If you haven't seen it, check that out. I'll say it again. Christopher Nolan is one of the best filmmakers working today. And especially after Oppenheimer, coming off the Best Picture and Best Director win, this sounds great. I love John Bernthal. I love this cast. I'm excited for him to do an adaptation of classic literature. This sounds great to me, and especially it being made for IMAX. Christopher Nolan has always been a champion of the theatrical going experience, and him continuing to push the bar in terms of filmmaking technology, I think is great. This sounds great to me. I'm ecstatic about this. In my mind, Christopher Nolan can do no wrong. What do you guys think about this? Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. This this next bit of news is something that I don't know too much about. So this report comes from Deadline, published by Matt Grober, and it has to do with an upcoming movie called Late Fame. Um, an actor by the name of Edmund Donovan, who was most recently in this movie called Civil War, which came out last year, which I thought was great. He has landed a role opposite Willem Dafoe and Greta Lee. I'm not familiar with Greta Lee, but this movie is called Late Fame. And this article goes on to say that Late Fame is a portrait of Ed Saxberger, a postal worker who wrote and published poetry such a long time ago that he's forgotten he ever was a poet. When a group of young writers and students rediscovers one of his books and reclaims him as one of their own, he finds, against his better judgment, that he likes it. The attention and the hero worship draw him out of his solitary routines and renew his spirit. The article goes on to say, the young writers speak loftily of their passionate ambitions for themselves, for their art form, for the future. They reject technology, or at least they do in theory and loudly. Among them is the mercurial Gloria, played by Greta Lee, a talented and borderline desperate theater actress who walks an emotional tightrope and toys with the affections of her boys. Boys is in quote. She is more than ready to be admired by this legendary figure from out of a gritty New York golden age. This sounds interesting to me. So Edmund Donovan will play Myers, a passionate and precocious student whose admiration for Ed's forgotten work sets the stage for an exploration of artistic legacy and renewal. This sounds interesting to me. Willem Dafoe will play Ed Saxberger. This idea of forgetting who you are, it sounds interesting to me. And Willem Dafoe is a great actor. He's an Oscar caliber actor. And this idea of forgetting and forgetting who you are and your students reminding you who you used to be, that that is something that's very powerful to me. That has the potential to play to be a very emotional story, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Edmund Donovan or Greta Lee, but or the director Kent Jones. Kent Jones directed Diane, which I'm not familiar with. That's probably because it's entering production this week. Um, but um, but Edmund Donovan was in Civil War, so I'm familiar with him from that. Kent Kent Jones, I'm not too familiar with, but this idea sounds interesting. What do you guys think? Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. This next report is about the upcoming next installment of um, the Oceans franchise. You know, Oceans 11, Oceans 12. You know that. Um, so there's a report on CBR published by John Dodge that reports that Ocean's 14 has reportedly found its director, and it looks like it will be, according to this article, David Leitch is reportedly in talks to helm Ocean's 14. Um, David Leitch is in talks with Warner Brothers and or George Clooney's production studio, Smokehouse Productions, to direct Ocean's 14. Um, the film is expected to mark the return of Clooney as thief extraordinaire Danny Ocean, as well as the returns of Casey Affleck and Matt Damon as mechanic Virgil Malloy and pickpocket Linus Caldwell. Um, you know, I am a little disappointed that Steven Soderbergh is not coming back to direct. But he is a little busy right now. I believe he's got 2 movies coming out this year. You know, I love this franchise. You know, I love Ocean's 11. I wasn't too keen about Ocean's 12. That one didn't really resonate with me. But I loved Ocean's 13, and I really enjoyed Ocean's 8, which is the one with Sandra, where Sandra Bullock played the lead. I believe she played Danny Ocean's sister. I really enjoyed that one. You know, like I said, Ocean's 12 is the only one that I didn't really like. You know, David Leitch is a great director. So I'm really looking forward to this. Like I said, it's you know, I'm a little disappointed that Steven Soderbergh isn't coming back to direct, but he is busy. David Leitch is a great director. This will be kind of a departure from what he's been doing, because the Ocean's movies are more character-based heist films, and if you look at the kinds of movies that David Leitch has directed, they're more action-oriented. So this will be an interesting departure for him. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts to that kind of storytelling. I'm really looking forward to this. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. This next report comes from Joe Blow, published by Cody Haman. And it has to do with an upcoming comic book adaptation. So it looks like there will be an adaptation, according to this report from Joe Blow. There will be an adaptation of Garth Ennis's horror comic, The Sadness. and it will be directed by Rob Jabbaz, who I'm not familiar with. No, I'm sorry. The Garth Ennis horror comic adaptation is called Crossed. It will be directed by uh, Rob Jabbaz, who directed The Sadness. I apologize. I got that screwed up. So, Crossed is the comic book. Um, uh, Garth Ennis has written the screenplay for the Crossed film adaptation. This article says that Crossed takes place in a pandemic stricken world in which those who catch a disease are marked with a cross like rash on their faces. Those afflicted follow their worst impulses. Think zombie apocalypse, but instead of zombies, these are humans who retain their intellect but are homicidal maniacs. Um, the screenplay Ennis wrote is said to be based on the first 10 issues of the comic. There, let's see. I'm not familiar with Rob Jabbaz. Like I said, he directed the horror film The Sadness, which, according to this report, that movie dealt with a virus that turned people violent. The film earned strong reviews and won Best Horror Film and Best Director at Fantastic Fest, which is an Austin genre-centric festival. Come on, this I love zombie movies, and this sounds like an interesting take. I'm glad that Garth Ennis is writing the Crossed adaptation. And if Rob Jabbaz has earned strong praise for his previous work, that's good enough for me for this. It looks like he's doing another zombie movie. So he clearly knows what to do with that genre. This sounds great to me. I'm a sucker for zombie movies. Jump in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe you hate this. Maybe you hate the fact that he's doing that. Rob Jabbaz is doing 2 zombie movies in a row. I don't know. It sounds good to me. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. This next report is about an upcoming fantasy book series adaptation. So there is this series of books called Children of Blood and Bone, which is very successful, and it's a young adult series that is very successful and very popular. And Paramount has announced the cast for an upcoming adaptation, and the cast includes Cynthia Erivo, who played Elphaba in Wicked, which I loved, and I loved her in Wicked. Also stars Idris Elba, who I also love. Viola Davis. I mean, come on. So it looks like, if all goes well, this could be the next. I don't want to say Lord of the Rings, but it could be, if all goes well, the next big fantasy adaptation. I hope it goes well. I'd love to see more fantasy adaptations. This report that was published on Screen Rant by Adam Benz also says that it does suggest that the cast could mean that this could be the next big fantasy adaptation. And this is a great cast. I'm looking forward to this. It's interesting. I wonder, because it's this Children of Blood and Bone is a young adult series. I wonder if the movies are going to target that kind of audience. I would love to see a more. I would love to see them adapt it in a way that's geared more towards like a 4-quadrant audience, like Lord of the Rings. I'm excited for this. I like the cast. I hope it's good. I think we need more fantasy adaptations. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. This next report is kind of an update about Robert Eggers and the movie that it looks like he will be doing after he does that werewolf movie that I talked about earlier. This report comes from CBR, published by Monica Coman. And Robert, this article says that per deadline, Robert Eggers is officially set to direct and write a new Labyrinth sequel. So Robert Eggers will be making a sequel to Labyrinth. And let's see here. Eggers will team up again with Sion, who was who he worked with on The Northman, and he will be working on on Werewolf, which I stated earlier, which I brought up earlier. Robert Eggers is so in demand right now, coming off of the success and the Oscar nominations for Nosferatu. I am going to admit something. I have not seen Labyrinth. However, now I always intended on seeing Labyrinth eventually, but now I have even more of a reason to. Especially since Robert Eggers is doing this. Look, obviously with Labyrinth, you're going to have a lot of creature effects, and Robert Eggers has history of doing that and making it look fantastic. Again, I haven't seen Labyrinth. Now it's jumped to pretty high on my list of movies to see. This sounds great. I know that Robert Eggers likes doing original movies, but I think he's the perfect fit for this, especially given all the amounts of effects in Labyrinth. I'm looking forward to this. It's good to see that the success of especially Nosferatu is keeping him working, and he has a number of projects in development. This sounds wonderful. I know there are a lot of people who love Labyrinth. I promise I will get around to seeing it eventually. Jump in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are about this. This next movie, this next report, I should say, has to do with an upcoming film. There is a movie that is scheduled to come out, was scheduled to come out, at the end of February called The Legend of Ochi, which I've seen the trailer for, and it looks wonderful. It's a fantasy movie, and it's directed by Isaiah Saxon, who has that it will be his first movie. It will be his directorial debut. The Legend of Ochi. This report was published on Variety by Rebecca Rubin. The Legend of Ochi utilizes puppetry, animatronics, matte paintings, and 3D animation to tell the story of a shy farm girl named Yuri, who lives in a remote village on the island of Carpathia and was raised to fear an elusive animal species known as Ochi. But when Yuri discovers a wounded baby Ochi has been left behind, she escapes on a quest to bring him home. Helena Zengel, who was in the Tom Hanks movie News of the World, stars in the movie. The movie also features Finn Wolfhard, Emily Watson, and Willem Dafoe. What I want to talk about specifically with this report is that, like I said, the movie was originally going to be released at the end of next month. The movie has been delayed until April 25th because Isaiah Saxon's house, according to this report, has Isaiah Saxon's house burned down in the LA fires, and that's obviously incredibly sad. I'm sad for this, especially because of Isaiah Saxon's house burning down, and that's obviously a perfectly good reason to delay a film. This is not a reason that I would deem. This is not a reason for me to get bummed about. This is a reason like your house burned. This is very sad. Take all the time you need to prepare your film to make it as good as to make it as good as you possibly can, but also take personal time for yourself to recover from this. These LA fires are it's incredibly sad what's happening out there, and I feel for everybody who's going through loss, and there are going to be numerous delays and possibly cancellations. We'll see because of these fires. I'm looking forward to this film. As far as I'm concerned, Isaiah Saxon, take all the time you need to make this film. I'll see it whenever it decides to come out. Whenever you decide to release it, take your time. I'm looking forward to this film. If you haven't seen the trailer for this film, it's called The Legend of Ochi. Look it up. I think it looks wonderful. You have a great cast. I love the genre. I'm looking forward to seeing this when it hits on April 25th. This final report that I wanted to talk about has to do with an upcoming movie in which Brad Pitt will star. This report is on Deadline, published by Matt Grober. Brad Pitt, this report says that Brad Pitt has found his next star vehicle in Heart of the Beast, David Ayer's action-adventure film for Paramount Pictures. The film, the report goes on to say that the project reunites Pitt and Ayer for the first time since Fury, their 2014 Sony drama starring Pitt as a battle-hardened U.S. Army sergeant leading a 5-man Sherman tank crew on a dangerous mission behind enemy lines in the final days of World War II. I have not seen Fury. I hope it's. I've heard it's great. Let's see here. Heart of this article goes on to say that Heart of the Beast centers on a former Army Special Forces soldier and his retired combat dog, who battle for survival after a plane crash deep in the unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. This will be so Brad Pitt has this movie coming out this year called F1, which is a sports action movie, and Brad Pitt plays a Formula One race car driver. So this movie, Heart of the Beast, it will be after that. This sounds great. David Ayer, who directed Fury, which I've not seen, but I've heard it's great. He kind of got a little bit of he got, a lot of behind the scenes stuff happened with his Suicide Squad movie. I think this will be a chance for him to make the kind of movie that he wants to make. And I like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, he's a good actor, and has been for quite a while. And it sounds as if it sounds that it will be in the same vein as Fury in terms of the genre. So I'm really looking forward to this. It'll be nice to see the two of them work together again. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will about do it for this week's show. I'm sorry that I stumbled a little bit, and I know I made a couple of mistakes, and I apologize for that. But I wanted you guys to see and hear me be real and not, I don't always come across as a perfectly eloquent speaker. Sometimes I struggle to get my thoughts out, and I hope that you guys are okay with that. I didn't want to I don't like using jump cuts in my videos to how do I want to say it? I don't like using jump cuts in my videos to make it seem like I come across as someone who perfectly says all the time what I want to say. So hopefully you'll forgive me for my one or two mistakes this time around. But I've enjoyed doing this show. What do you guys think about all this news today? That'll about do it. I hope everybody is enjoying the show, and I hope you I hope you will continue to do so. I will be back next week to talk about more entertainment related, more movie and TV related topics. So if you'll do me a favor, like I said at the beginning, hit that like and subscribe button. Tell your friends, and I'll see you next week, and as always, I'll see you at the movies.